call the meeting to order. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey. Here. Fournier.
Here.
Hammond.
Here.
Crop.
Here.
Menser. Here. Voorhees.
Yeah, here. Yeah, here.
We'll move on to announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. None at this time on the agenda, but are there any announcements from the commission? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to adoption of the agenda. Entertain a motion.
Mayor Crop, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Support.
Call the roll, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay, this is the portion of the meeting that we allow the public to address the commission. All that we ask is that you give us your full name, your residential address, and abide by your 3-minute rule. First, we will address those who are with us in public today, and then we'll go to the Zoom meeting. Whoever would like to start us off can go ahead and go to the microphone.
Patrick McKinney, 1207 Wellesley Drive. Based on the last meeting, it's obvious where we're going to go with this one, which is to rescind our idea to apply for the $45 million new plant bond or a loan or whatever, and obviously put in for the $17 million one. It's pretty obvious that's what's going to happen. My question would be, and we talked about this earlier, I heard in the discussion, that does not necessarily tie us into that program if another alternative option comes along, if something else happens or there are other options presented along the way that we weren't aware of. So I just want to confirm that applying for this loan doesn't technically lock us into it, but I am concerned that when they say, yes, we're going to give you the money, that we don't find down the road that we've entered into a performance agreement where, well, we said we'd give you the money, we didn't give it to New Haven, we didn't give it to Grand Rapids, we gave it to you, so now, you know, we consider that to be a contract that you're locked into, and we end up with a breach of contract lawsuit against us for not taking their money and hooking into Detroit when we discovered a different option or something else. That's my only concern about applying for that particular loan, is that even though they say on one hand, we're not going to lock you into it, they also said on the other hand, we're also not going to give you the other one. You don't know what to, what do you believe from what they're saying? So I'm concerned that we apply for this thing and then we're locked in. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat.
Hello, I'm David Lavender. I live at 157 Robertson Street, also part business owner of 57 Macomb Place. On behalf of our business and other local businesses, we'd like you to consider ensuring the quality of the street sweeping and cleaning, making sure that all debris, snow, and leaves are cleaned in a timely fashion so that these items don't conflict with our operation hours of business. And as a homeowner, when you make decisions regarding our water, please be conscious so that you do not put us too much far in debt, and please respect the debt ceiling. So, thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Larry Algier. I live at 740 Chippewa. I've lived in Mount Clemens all my life. I was born in Mount Clemens 84 years ago. Well, today, in fact, that's what it was.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. My parents moved to Mount Clemens in 1930 after they married. And they came to Mount Clemens because they liked Shady Side Park so much. They rode the interurban on Sunday afternoons, and they said, we're going to move to Mount Clemens. They did. Again, I've lived in Mount Clemens all my life. Graduated from Mount Clemens High School. Worked for Kroger for a long time. In fact, there was a Kroger store on Gratiot, you know where KMK skateboard is? That used to be a Kroger store. In fact, at that time, we had 2 Kroger stores in town, one downtown and one there. We had a lot of supermarkets in Mount Clemens. Like I say, worked for Kroger all my life. Went to Wayne State while working for Kroger. I stayed with Kroger, got married, raised a family, had 5 children. They all graduated from Mount Clemens High School. All 5 of them reside in Macomb County. 2 own homes here in the city of Mount Clemens. And all this time, I moved into the office with Kroger, came back to Mount Clemens and managed the store here in town. Brought a few notes. In fact, right now, I am the longest serving member in the Methodist Church over here at the corner of Cass and southbound Gratiot. My kids have all worked in Mount Clemens. They worked for my mother for a while. My mother managed Fanny Farmer Shop. Fanny Farmer Shop was on the corner of Macomb and Walnut, you know, where Black Hat Cafe is right now. She was known as a candy lady. All 5 of my children have worked in Mount Clemens. Some worked at Art of Craft, Yogurt Shop, Eden Framing, First National Bank, MedStar, and Kmart. All these years, I've enjoyed living in Mount Clemens and calling Mount Clemens my home, and my kids have called it my home. Now, I'm going to speak again in a little while, and I wanted you to know who I am, how long I've lived in Mount Clemens, and how I've enjoyed living in Mount Clemens, and proud of the fact that I have been and from Mount Clemens. Thank you much.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Justin Clark. I live on 139 South Highland. I've lived in Mount Clemens now about 10 years come June. I grew up in the city of Monroe. So, city of Monroe has their own water plant, and it's extremely valuable to that city where I grew up. One thing, I know we always talk about funding and money. Sometimes things are more valuable than the money dollar we put to it, and one is the health and well-being of the community for the long term. If you currently look at the federal databases of water contaminants of all the surrounding communities that are on Detroit water, or whatever you want to call it, they are substantially higher than what we are. And many of those contaminants are not regulated or studied. Now, they're not being added at the plant into the water system, but they're being picked up along the way as they go through all the pipes. Mount Clemens has 4. The average is 12 to 18 additional around us. This is not being brought up or focused by the commission, at least in the town hall meeting that I was part of. And it's extremely important that we as a city have to stand our ground and say our long-term health of our community is more important than what the state is shoving down our throat to get free, quote unquote, free money. And everybody in this room knows nothing is free in this country, no matter what you say about it. It always costs you something. Sometimes the short term, sometimes the long term. When you're dealing with additives in food and water, those are long-term damages that are happening. Many people in this room are already experiencing those, and they have no idea why they're having these problems. I'm one of them. Our food system, our water, the plastics we drink out of. Most of you are drinking out of plastic right now. So, I hope that there's a way that we can actually address that. If we end up having to go with Detroit water because of money, which still, from what it sounds like, makes it pretty risky anyways, both choices, we as a city need to find how to protect our citizens as well with home water filtrations within their walls that they can control and monitor and take care of. I did the first step for myself, but not everybody in the city can do that. It's about $3,000 roughly for the really good Cadillac system of Culligan. But that filter lasts 10 to 20 years, the main one that has to get replaced. It's not terrible when you think about it 10, 20 years down the road, but you got to save for it and plan for it. Not every household has that luxury because of many circumstances. But here as a city, we need to figure out a way to also protect people if we're forced to go this way. So there's a lot of cheaper avenues we can go for filtration that aren't as fancy with apps to control the settings for flavor and everything. But I think as a city, we have to find a way to fund that. And there's a lot of free money out there away from the federal government for projects like that as well. And hopefully, if we're forced to go this way, that becomes a priority for everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Ron Hurtubise, 51 Maraw Street. I just like to say I'm just disappointed that we couldn't make the construction of our own water plant come to fruition. Very disappointed in this body that we wasted a lot of time, as far as I'm concerned, in having town hall meetings and having discussions, last sessions about this whole thing. Like the previous gentleman said, I think, we're going to be kicking ourselves in the butt later on down the road for giving up control over a resource. One that's going to be continually more valuable as the years go on. MLive just had an article this last 2 weeks ago about saying how Michigan will become a freshwater haven. And we're going to miss out on that. That's disappointing.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time?
I'm Marilyn. I live at 300 Clinton River Drive in Mount Clemens.
Marilyn, can you give us your last name?
Hall.
Thank you.
There was a water main break on my street week before last, on the weekend. I had no water Saturday and Sunday. I was able to contact somebody with the city of Mount Clemens. And someone in the city brought me 3 cases of water, where I had enough water I could flush the toilet the rest of Saturday and Sunday. And all I could think of was, if this were with the Detroit system, who would I call? Who would stop by my house and give me water?
City of Mount Clemens.
I can't picture anybody coming from Great Lakes to
Wait,
bring me
let
water.
Well, the city of Mount Clemens would still be in charge of water main breaks.
And
So you would call us again.
I would still call you?
I promise.
I'm hoping that's the
Yes.
case, because usually
I get
going
it.
cheaper isn't usually the best way to go.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jason Grunwald, 1061 Hampton. A few issues, I was reading, and I apologize for meeting the last meeting, or the meeting on the 21st. But there were some comments made in the paper, and one of them, got my attention, was the trying to eliminate having to spend additional funds conforming to the many burdensome regulations, as far as keeping the cost down and diverting the almost 1.7 roughly $1 million from the ARPA into to pay for law enforcement, and have the general fund, and then in turn pay for construction costs that were originally supposed to be the part of the ARPA, which to me, is that just to get around an audit, a more expensive audit that was originally?
No, it wasn't. No, what it was, when you go into construction
Wait.
contracts, and when you use federal funds, you've got to follow regulations, and those regulations are burdensome.
Cliff.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah,
We normally-
So when you say burdensome,
We normally
the
don't-
Bacon Act, was that what's burdensome?
We normally don't respond right now,
Okay.
and we really normally don't respond directly. So the reason why I responded last time was because it was misinformation, and I didn't want to get that. So that you have a legitimate question, we will respond to that when we respond to legitimate questions.
Okay.
So, sorry. Just
And
want to
there's
keep it going.
There's another audit that's associated with that, and it's considered a more comprehensive audit. Is, to me, if we're trying to get away from that, are we hiding something? Or are we just trying to save some money at the cost of what? I mean, you put yourself into it, you start going with the lowest possible bidder on some of these projects, and you're going to get into issues with manpower, issues with workmanship. These are things I address every day in my through work, so I'm pretty familiar with that, especially with the manpower issues. It's across the entire country. But I guess my main question would be, what are we trying to get around and why? Are we trying to get around the Davis-Bacon Act, and because is that burdensome? And I know the audit itself is more comprehensive, and there's a cost affiliated with that. But what does that cost? What's the difference between the one we're currently going to do? Because like the lady said before me, sometimes the cheapest is not necessarily the best. it's a long-term investment in our community. And when you have, people that have good paying jobs, that can make a living wage and raise a family, that's really what we want in this community.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Hello, Gina New, 51 North Highland. Please note that I share all this with you from a resident's perspective, and I prepared it. My husband and I are co-owners of a small home improvement company based here in Mount Clemens. I'm also currently completing education to obtain a state builder's license. Both my hands-on experience as well as my course instruction has confirmed that a cardinal rule for any project, the first thing that should come to mind where any building or renovation is concerned, no matter how big or small, is obtaining the necessary permits to do so. Costly, extensive feasibility studies were done by multiple engineers, overseen by both state and city officials, results of which were presented to the public with 2 options offered. The public response to the minimal information in the 4, quite obviously biased, if I might add, town hall meetings was overwhelmingly in support of rebuilding. The December 5th commission vote reflected this. Funding aside, 1 week later, the issue was raised that it may not be possible to obtain permits for a proposed $45 million project. Even I, a student and small business owner, know that permits are always step 1. Was this not considered in early phases, or was rebuilding never actually intended to be an option on the table? The public's opinion was not actively sought until this situation was down to the wire. Our facility was built in 1929 and updated in 1959. It is now 93 years old, and the modernization 63 years old. Would a police or fire chief suddenly look outside one day shocked to realize that their cruisers or engines were built in 1986? Food for thought. Even if our hands are tied, be what may. But presenting 2 options and promptly taking one away feels awfully like a bait and switch maneuver to save face. Why ask for public opinion when homework wasn't done and there was no choice to begin with? If there is any chance whatsoever, I believe you owe it to residents to at least try, or at very least owe them an explanation as to why they were offered only empty promises in the 11th hour.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Patrick Abitudo, 16557 Howard Drive. First, I want to thank Commissioner Metzer for all the work she's done as commission and wish her best of luck in Lansing. Also, Merry Christmas to everybody. To add to the city problems, we have 2 new issues as well. That's been over a week almost, hoping that the city gets to resolve these people who have been showed favoritism. Forget my words for using that, but it's just what it feels like. And now that they're abusing and making the city look a certain way is really not looked happy upon. I'm sorry, a little nervous here. I'm trying to say something and not be insulting, but I just feel that hopefully the city does something to stop this, because I think we look worse if we let this go on more and more. It's been almost a week, and I know there's a closed session meeting after. I hope it's about it. I don't know, but I hope that we can get this resolved quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay. Anybody on Zoom? Can't see you, Darren, sorry. No, okay. All right, we will go ahead and move on then to administrative responses to issues or questions raised during previous meetings. Mr. Shipman.
At the last regular city commission meeting, a citizen asked, when is the city going to begin accepting applications for marijuana business permits issued by the city of Mount Clemens through our local ordinance? Applications will be accepted upon resolution of pending litigation and adoption of ordinance amendments.
Okay, is there any other correspondence? Okay, we'll move on then. Right, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the work session and regular city commission's meeting minutes for December 5th, 2022.
Support. Anybody have any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, general business. We'll open the public, I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing for downtown maintenance.
Mayor Crop, I move that we open the first public hearing for the downtown maintenance program.
Support.
Thank you. At this time, we will open the public hearing, which is on the downtown maintenance program. At this time, we will hear any comments that the public would like to talk about with that said program. Mr. Shipman, do you want to add anything?
Just that one of the requirements for having a downtown maintenance special assessment is we do 2 public hearings. This will be the first of those 2. One thing to note is it looks like our expenditures are going to exceed what we collect by just over $12,000. The reason for that is the anticipated increase in street sweeping.
Okay. So we will go ahead and open up that hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the issue?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm Larry Alger, 740 Chippewa. I'm the owner of Champion Power Sweeping. Now, you wonder about Champion Power Sweeping. Has been doing the sweeping in the city of Mount Clemens. Mr. Murray was asked in November, you were asked how long Champion has been doing it, and your comment was, a long, long time. Now, if it were another business and somebody was in business since 1979 in the city of Mount Clemens, someone would say, wow, that was a nice long time. But it's come back this way. Now, my predecessor, Phil Champion, started Champion Mall Maintenance back in 1979. I left Kroger back in 1984. Phil said, hey, the sweeping's out there. I said, Phil, I'm a suit and tie guy. That's not for me. Well, in 1987, I decided to go in business along with Phil, but I called myself Champion Power Sweeping. Phil retired, wanted to retire in 2000. I bought his entity. And during that period of time, the city put out a contract for sweeping the downtown business, and Phil got that. I bid it in, I think it was 2001, as Champion Power Sweeping, my entity, which was separate from Phil's. And fortunately, and I'm very proud of the fact, I have had that since 2000, the year 2000, 2001. Because I'm proud of Mount Clemens, I'm proud of what we did downtown, and I considered what we were doing, sweeping the downtown business, as customer service for Mount Clemens. Providing customer service, make sure it was neat and clean for the people who came to our city, whether they went to the courthouse, to their attorney, to their lawyer, their accountant, or to the shops and businesses in downtown Mount Clemens. And something has happened, I guess maybe within the last year. And you know, if you want to resolve a problem, pick up a phone and say hello, do something, or talk about it. But all of a sudden, you put out a contract, put out a new bid. We said, fine, we'll bid it. We happen to be the only bid that came in. And now, Madam Mayor, you said you weren't happy with it. You didn't want to discuss it. And that was a month ago. And like I say, I'd like to discuss it. I would love to have it again. Now you want to put out a new bid. You've already opened up the last bid to show what we bid for other people to see. Just, hey, talk with us. Let's talk about it. You know who I am and where I come from. This is my city. I don't have a storefront, but I've been here since 1987 with a business in Mount Clemens. Thanks much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public hearing about downtown maintenance? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close.
Mayor
the
Crop,
public
I
hearing.
move that we close the first public hearing on the downtown maintenance program.
Support. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, call the roll, please.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to general business 9B, the DWSRF loan.
We don't have a motion.
Next one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Sorry. Okay.
I move to adopt the recommended rates, instruct the assessor to prepare a special assessment roll, and set the date for the second public hearing on January 3, 2023. Support.
Okay, Mr. Shipman?
All thing that I would note is just what I said, that there is that anticipated increase, and it's due to the street sweeping.
Yes, Commissioner Dempsey.
Will that be coming then, since we won't be getting that money in from the assessment roll out of the general fund?
That's the recommendation at this time, yes.
And why is the increase?
Well, what we went out to bids for, that amount, you didn't approve at the last, it was the last meeting, or was the one before that, so we're going out to bids, and it looks like to go a different route, you're gonna look at about that much of an increase for the sweeping. But we need to get the bid back and confirm that and see what we get back on the
We
bid.
tabled it. I didn't think we voted.
No, you excluded it.
Yeah, we excluded it, so.
Right, we haven't accepted another contract, but we anticipate it going, and we have to
It went out
set the
bid again.
rates.
It's out to bid again. But to not hold this up, to get this done, that's what we anticipate.
So if the rate is
The
less,
increase
then
will
we
be.
won't have to use general funds.
At the meeting, there were questions relative to that particular contract. Under the bid documents, the city has the right to accept, reject, do whatever with bids. The administration, however, cannot accept a bid from someone else or another offer. It has to rebid the project, and that's what they've been instructed to do. So there's not one bid. Hopefully there'll be multiple bids, and that's the way it will proceed.
We usually take the lowest bidder, right? In most
Normally,
cases.
yeah, all other things being equal.
Okay.
Why wouldn't that additional cost be passed on to the downtown?
Well, it can be. When I looked last year, I know that, I think it was about, Cliff can correct me, about $5,000–6,000, I think, was the anticipated shortfall, and that's what they asked to be moved from the general fund. So that's been the past practice. If it looked like their shortfall was that it would be taken out of the general fund. Of course, the other thing is to raise the assessment. There's not a lot of people on the assessment. You'd be looking at, if it comes in $12,000 difference, I think you're looking at about a 20% increase to capture that amount. So, but that would be your other choice would be to raise the assessment. The thought was, let's see how the bids come back. Let's see where we're at the end of the year, and we may have to look at a different schedule in the way we go about it. And let's see how this goes. Let's see if everybody's happy. Let's see what our costs are. And then my guess is we probably, this time next year, be asking for an increase.
That makes sense. Okay.
Commissioner Menzer?
So when you think of last year's rolls, are there businesses in the downtown area or business owners or owners of vacant buildings that have not paid their assessments and have now moved to the tax rolls?
I can't say for sure.
There was a few, but they moved to the tax roll. If I recall off the top of my head, I believe we had $3,000 of the 58,000 that we built. So it's a small amount, probably about 5%.
So the owners of vacant buildings or vacant shops have predominantly been paying, other than the 3 million?
Yeah, the collection rate's been like about 95–96%. And then we collect it off, once we put it on the tax roll, we get reimbursed by the county.
And just the other thing to add is, a lot of that is dependent on how much snowfall we get as well.
Hopefully that cost is down.
We do this, we do, right?
Right, but the DPA,
City.
city is
Yeah.
reimbursed for that, right, through the maintenance. Right.
Right, but it just depends how much snow we get, because that's part of the payment out of the downtown maintenance.
And historically speaking, in the last 5 years, we've heard during public hearings in the past that people have been unhappy with the service, the current service. So that's why we were addressing this situation. And we've also been told by our city staff that they've addressed that with the contract that was held. So we've been told numerous times that they have contacted the person that does this current sweeping, and it has been addressed. So just want to add that in. Anybody else? Okay. I'll call the roll, please.
Crop.
Yes.
Menzer.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey. Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to general business, the DAWSRF loan. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Krupp,
Yes.
the recommended motion, I think, should be slightly revised
Okay.
to read, move to rescind the motion to apply for a drinking water, et cetera.
Kathy, do you have that note? Okay.
Thank you.
And all of, the rest of it's fine?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Now I'll entertain an amended, well, I guess it's not really an amended, but I'll entertain what he said.
I move to rescind the motion to apply for a drinking water state revolving fund loan in the amount of $45 million for the construction of a new $8 million gallon per day water filtration plant.
Do I have a support?
Support.
Okay, do I have any questions or comments?
Doesn't Mr. Shipman need to go
Well,
over this for the audience?
Mr. Shipman,
All right, so at the last meeting, obviously, we moved to approve to apply for a loan for the new water filtration plant. Since that time, we reached back out to Eagle, who had said it would be very unlikely that we would get funding for that. And we wanted them to say it as best they could, and I wanted it in writing, which I didn't think they would do, but they did. And it was pretty clear, we are not going to get a loan for that. It's not going to happen. So I see no other choice if we're going to apply for a loan except to apply for the GLWA connection.
does anybody have any questions or comments?
Myself.
Go ahead,
Now.
Mr. Dempsey. Yeah.
We had a meeting before this where our bond agent was here. And basically, one, there's no feasible way that we will qualify for the loan if we go forward for the water plant. Two, there's no way the city has the capacity in the bonding, is what they told us. We don't have the money. So basically, and the state, thirdly, the state pretty much said, don't bother, you won't get anywhere if you try to apply for your own water plant. So those of us who support, and I still support a water plant, we're put up against the wall. Basically, we have no other choice. They've taken that choice away from us. The state's taken it away from us, and the bonding agent has taken it away from us. So I just think, I want everyone to be clear that if you see people here tonight having to vote to rescind this, it's because we have absolutely no choice. That's what we were told at the last meeting. And I'm not happy about it.
Anybody else? Comments or questions? Commissioner Menzer.
Why this information about our bonding capacity was not presented prior to our town halls is a mystery. It's a mystery that we can't, I don't want to point fingers, but this information about our capacity to bond and what would happen if our bonding limit is about 49 million, which is a percentage of our, SEV. If we bond out that 45 million, we will hit that capacity. So if something, untoward or drastic happens, a giant water main, a street collapsing, a sinkhole like we've had before in the city, we will not be able to bond to fix that. If the seawall falls in, we will not be able to bond to fix that. So as Commissioner Dempsey said, we are being held hostage by the state and by our bonding company. And again, I have no idea why this information was not presented to us before these town halls. Whether we didn't know what questions to ask, whether we didn't do our homework, whether they didn't bother to tell us, is almost a moot point. But as Commissioner Dempsey said, we are stuck now because of this. We can't in good conscience bond out the 45 or 75 that somebody said $1 million for the water treatment plant because of the citizens, of the residents' capacity to pay. It's disappointing and I'm angry over it. But we're stuck. I just have to say that I don't think we're being held hostage by the bonding company. They have nothing to do with this. They are only looking at the facts of what we have as a base, property tax base, what we have as a water revenue base when they come to their, it's a calculation. They're not holding us, deciding that we're not being held hostage. The issue is, if we would have known this fact earlier, a lot of this would have been moot. I get it. That was a mistake on all of our part. I mean, we've all been around this bush a few times. We could have all asked that question as well. We didn't. But here we are again. This is where we're at. But the bottom line is what we're being held hostage by, more than anything, is that 48% of the property in this city is not taxable. That is what holds us hostage, folks. And that is what I hope Commissioner Metzer can do something about when she goes to Lansing. And that is what keeps us strapped, if you will, from our property taxes have gone down, our water revenue has gone down. You take it all into consideration, the numbers don't add up. They didn't add up for me all along, and that is the bottom line. We just can't afford it. I want one, I really do, but we can't afford it. So that's the problem to me. And yes, I wish we'd all known that fact ahead of time. I'm sure administration wishes they would have known that fact. But they all came to the conclusion that we couldn't afford it without that fact. So I apologize for the town halls personally. I wish that we would have had all that information. We didn't. But it doesn't change the fact that 48% is not taxable. And it affects us big time.
5,900 accounts on our water system. 5,900. So when we think about 16,000 people, 15,500 people that live in Mount Clemens, there's 5,900 accounts. And a $47 million bill for 59 accounts is just insurmountable. It's an incredible load to bear. And I voted the way I did because I just felt like I mean, those numbers just don't make any sense to me. It's just too much of a burden. We don't have enough capacity in terms of money to be able to do that. And I, of course, wanted my own plant. But we just couldn't bear that load. I mean, I have to make financial decisions at my household all the time where I want to buy something that's much more expensive than I know I can afford. And I don't do it because I'm trying to be as responsible of an adult as possible. And I want to, again, reiterate that our department heads and our administration, that was their main concern. They all wanted their own water plant as well, but they realized that it was just such a huge burden for the city. And they recommended the more fiscally responsible option. And so I don't think they were holding back on that. Commissioner Campbell, Commissioner Hammond, we haven't heard any. Do you guys want to say something?
I don't often back up on what I've said or what I stand for. But we're stuck. I've mentioned this in the meeting before. We've talked about it. The state is really, if anybody's going to hold us hostage, the state is. There's a lot of reasons for that, but we have to, part of our job here is to be fiscally responsible to the citizens of Mount Clemens. And I take that, believe me, I'm going to tell you this. If we lost sleep over this, hours I have lost over this. I vacillated one way or the other, and I made sure that I didn't put my personal views into this. And I was the first one to ask for the town hall meetings. Granted, the information that was disseminated, we didn't have a complete picture at that point. But I always think that it's good for the citizens of Mount Clemens to voice their opinions one way or the other to us. We're stuck. And that's, I hate to keep saying that, and therefore I'm going to have to back up on what I had voted for 2 weeks ago and have to support the $17 million application to the Drinking Water Fund and go with Great Lakes.
I just want to say that this is not a perfect solution. Not everybody's going to be happy. I received emails right on this computer here from citizens that said they were happy we were going to go with Great Lakes. Then I had emails that said that was a disaster going with Great Lakes. There was no way to make everybody happy. And I understand that. I respect everybody's voice and opinion as to what was said. And in the end, like Commissioner Dempsey and Commissioner Voorhees have said, the information has come forward that we're left with no other decision because the state's holding all the cards. So we're at where we're at. Not everybody's happy, but this is where we're the position we're in.
First, I want to apologize to the residents for dropping the ball on the water plant, that we let it go this long and not being able to retain the asset we have in the city. It's disappointing that we can't get the support from the county and the state to help fund us being independent with the water plant. And I could still support having a new plant, but financially it's something that, as us being responsible and elected into this position, it's just a choice we have to make.
Are there any further questions or comments?
Just to say we don't have a choice. Let's put it down the way it is.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Menser,
No.
Voorhees,
Reluctantly, yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop.
Yes. I will entertain a motion. There's a further motion recommended.
I move to approve application for a drinking water state revolving fund loan in the amount of $17 million for connection to Great Lakes Water Authority and authorize the city manager to execute the same. Support.
Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Call the roll, please.
Voorhees,
Reluctantly, yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser.
No.
Okay, we'll move on to general business 9C, purchases and payments of invoices.
I move to approve purchases and payment of invoices as presented.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Commissioner Menser, I mean, come on, it's your last one.
Well, I do appreciate Mr. Bertrand getting these explanations and pricing summaries. And I want to point out that Mr. Bertrand is the reason that we have such good water right now. That Mr. Bertrand and his crew have babied this plant, have whispered to the machinery, and kept this running. And we all owe him and his crew a debt of gratitude, and we should all be saying thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. Okay. Hearing no one else, we will call the roll, please.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda, I will entertain a motion. I don't believe we can have Commissioner Menser move on this one.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Don't I get to say hell yes?
Sorry.
Sir? Hell yes.
All right, city manager's report.
All right, on Saturday, December 10th, the fire department participated in the Shop with the Hero event at Meyer on South Groesbeck and Church Street. I want to thank all the first responders that participated, and I also want to thank Meyer for sponsoring this great event. I'm happy to announce that Mike Farron has accepted the full-time rental inspector position, and we welcome him to the team. City of Mount Clemens annually nominates one or more individuals for our local treasurer award. The purpose of the award is to provide recognition to the men and women of our city who have made the city a better place to live through exemplary positive contributions. The nominee must be a resident or business owner from within the city. The actions of the nominee must have contributed to a positive, lasting legacy to our city and its residents. Nominations may be submitted by any resident or business owner. All nominations must be in writing using the nomination form available on the city's website and the city manager's office. The deadline for submissions will be January 20th, 2023. Recreation is busy. The recreation website is ready for registration to open on January 4th. Looking for a copy of the winter season city recreation newsletter? It's available online in City Hall and at the community center and through our partnered businesses. Programs can pop up at any time. And just as an added note, the newsletter is going to be released 3 times a year. We're going to have winter, spring, and a summer fall edition. and they will reopen in the new location inside the community center at 300 North Groesbeck on January 4th. And as always, if you want any further information, hit them up on their website at mountclemensrecreation.org. Commissioner Metzer, thank you for your many years of dedicated service to the city of Mount Clemens. You've been a great colleague and friend. We will all miss you very, very much. Good luck on your new political endeavor. Lansing, hang on. Not sure if you're ready for this. As a reminder, November 18th through December 23rd, downtown decorating contest coming to an end. Vote for your favorite decorated downtown business. Ballots are available at all participating businesses. Another reminder, November 18th through January 1st, holiday parking is still free after 3. It's always free on Saturdays and Sundays. Please visit one of our many fine downtown stores for your Christmas shopping needs. And on December 31st, we're going to have the Kids New Year's Eve featuring activities for the kids at Discovery Center of Macomb, located at 54 Cherry Street. That'll be from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we have a kids fireworks show at 9 p.m. and that'll be launched right here from City Hall parking lot. And the New Year's Gala featuring a DJ on Main Street from 10 p.m. to midnight. And of course, the big fireworks display at midnight to welcome in the new year.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Shipman? Okay, hearing none, you're off the hook. We will go on to our second portion of the meeting, our second opportunity of the meeting, where we have the public address the commission. We ask that you give us your full name, your residential address, and that you abide by our 2-minute rule. We'll again address those who are in person, and then we'll go to Zoom.
Eric Rick, 1689 Hampton. I just want to say today is one of those days where I really appreciate Mount Clemens. We have gone through, over the last, month or so, we've gone through issues at the library and the marijuana stuff and the water plant stuff, some of the most contentious issues that are going to be out there that are going to affect the city for decades, maybe a century. And these meetings, the citizens come and they're informed and concerned and respectful of each other, and then the commission deliberates intentionally and thoughtfully, and it's refreshing and kind of weird compared to what we see on the news. I'd like to congratulate Representative Menzer and thank Manager Shipman for your patience and diligence. And good luck, everyone. I think tomorrow is going to be an awesome news day.
Thanks.
Buy your copy of the Macomb Daily.
Right.
Yeah. Where's Mitch Hans?
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission? Come on, go ahead, Dom.
Hi, my name is Megan Nyman. I am a business owner and property owner, 49 North Walnut. Just going back a bit, talking about the downtown maintenance, the effectiveness of it being done and done well, by the time that a lot of people arrive downtown, that could be at 8 o'clock for court, for jury duty, to shop at the businesses, restaurants, breakfast, all of that. The idea was brought of covering that cost to those property owners. I speak only on behalf of myself, but I maxed out. So the few of us that own a business and the building that we're in can't pay anymore. So please consider that when deciding the best option for that bid.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Marcia Wills, 71 Ludwig. First of all, I want to apologize for screaming at you guys an hour ago. Okay. I was very, very angry, and I'm sorry. And it's Advent, and I got to go confession again. So it's like, I don't know. Thank you, Rashida, for your support, in this, and the asset issue, the fact that we're giving up an asset in favor of signing on to a privately owned Great Lakes Water Authority, which we really will not have any say-so in it at all. It's very disappointing, but I do understand you guys got bad information, and it's just a really sad, sad day for citizens in Mount Clemens. And I predict that those that can afford it are probably going to be investing in their own filtration system, water filtration systems, if, the standard of water from Great Lakes, is not the same as what we've been used to here. So, thank you. Thank you.
Is there anyone else at this time who would like to address the commission? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to Zoom. Okay, no one on Zoom. Then we will go ahead and move to commissioner comments. Commissioner Dempsey.
Well, it's been a terrible month. I think Mr. Rick said it perfectly. I've never, in all the years I've been involved in politics, local politics, have been bombarded with the issues that we have been facing the last few months in the city. Never, I can tell you that. I feel really bad that we haven't even had the opportunity or been given the opportunity to apply for our own water plant with the state. When the state comes right down and tells you, don't bother, we're not going to permit you, we're not going to give you this, what is it all about? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just having such a difficult time with that. And I'm sorry that I think we did mislead the residents, because we said, you have a choice, make a choice for us. You have a choice. And then we're told, you don't have a choice. So, I apologize. I just am very sorry that it got to that point. On a lighter note, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Have a safe and happy New Year. Hug your families. And remember, this is the season to enjoy, and we're all blessed to have what we have. And remember that. And thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Voorhees.
I too would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Mama said there would be days like this. This is not an easy job, I'm going to tell you. And but it's one of the most rewarding things I have ever done in my life, my 71 years on Earth. But we're here to make the tough choices, and they are tough choices. And you're right, Barb. This has been a tough month, for sure. But on a lighter note, Mr. Alger, happy birthday. I worked with your daughter at the First National Bank that's no longer here. Your mother, by the way, you worked at Fannie Farmers, and she used to entice me by giving me the mint chocolate things, and that's why I look, yeah, the meltaways, and that's why I look like this today. But she was a sweetheart, believe me. And also, once a bather, always a bather. Remember that?
Lived in Mount Clemens all my life and never took a bath.
There you are. I love it. Denise, it's been an honor and a privilege to be your seatmate for the last 3 years, and you've been here a lot longer. Lansing won't know what hit them when Denise gets there. But I believe that Denise will work diligently to bring every dollar that she can bring back to the city of Mount Clemens. I know that you will do that. And with that, once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
Every year at Christmas, for the last 5 or 6 years, the Mount Clemens Optimist Club has received a list of items needed for students at Mount Clemens Middle School and High School from the guidance counselor, Mrs. Monk. This year, we had a list of 10 kids who are in desperate need of simple things like toiletries and socks and hats and coats and boots. We were able to fulfill 10 kids' wish lists. In addition, we were able to supply Mrs. Monk with extra things like, 20 things of deodorant and 10 hairbrushes and extra hats, extra gloves, extra socks, and a lot of snacks, because some of our kids come to school and they're hungry. And they go see Mrs. Monk, and she helps take care of that. This year, we had 2 businesses join us. One, Deep Cuts Barbershop, adopted one of our kids and provided a lot of really great gifts and things that were needed. And the Mount Clemens Masons, through Nick Schubeck, was able to adopt 4 kids. So this is a tradition that we've been doing, and it's been absolutely one of the best things that I've ever done. We don't meet the kids. Mrs. Monk takes care of that. But we have provided things that our students need. Simple things, like I said, socks, hats, gloves. And it's been very important for the Mount Clemens Optimist Club to keep up this tradition. So there are residents that I'd like to thank. There are businesses that I'd like to thank. I'd like to thank the Discovery Center, who also adopted a kid. And we were able to meet all of their needs. And that's just a wonderful thing. One of the things that I've learned in politics is what I call the 3 C's. You vote your conscience, then you vote your constituents, and then you vote your caucus or your party. It has to be that way, in that order. Because if I don't vote my conscience, I'm doing something against my moral grain. And you saw me here tonight, I'm contrary. Although we talked about the water, I could not, in my good conscience, vote for the Great Lakes Water Plant. I just couldn't. There are people on this commission who I know will miss me. But there are people on this commission who are going, hell yes. I understand that. When I get to Lansing, I have a list already. They asked us to provide a list of 10 bills that we would like to have passed. I have about 6 right now, and we have to have them by the end of the month. All of those bills, in some way, will benefit Mount Clemens if I can get them passed. I'm looking at the issue, and I have talked to other people, other representatives who come from small communities where county government takes up a massive portion of their land, and they're not paying taxes. So we're looking at what we can do for that at the state level. And maybe we'll succeed this time because I've gotten other people to say, hey, wait a minute. If the county government won't pay, maybe the state will. So we're asking for what's called a payment in lieu of taxes. I want a pilot from the state of Michigan to make up for some of our last tax revenue because we host county government. Now, county government is going to say, but we have all these employees here. We have 700 employees in the downtown area, And we direct them to your businesses, we direct them to your restaurants, we direct them to the, Clementines and to artists and to the Nest and to Deep Cuts. They do that. But that doesn't make a difference for the residents who live here and who pay almost 22 mils in taxes. So that's one of the things that I'm going to look at, and there's a few others. You will see me back here. I happen to be off on Mondays, so you will see me back here on Monday nights sometimes. You will be able to contact me and get a hold of me. I don't know my phone number now. I don't have any business cards yet. I don't get those until January 1. But you can always get a hold of me. You know my name. Find me on Facebook. Send me a message. Or some of you already have my number. And if you want my number, you can ask me and I'll give it to you.
Some of us live 2 doors.
Yeah.
Or around the corner.
Yeah, or around the corner. But I feel like I will always represent Mount Clemens because this is my home. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Fournier.
You caught me off guard there. Yeah,
Sorry.
I
thought I'd switch it up a bit.
Do, but Denise, you and Ron Campbell are probably the reason I am sitting here. You're the ones that encouraged me to run for this. And despite that, we've had our ups and downs over the many years. But one thing I have always had for you is respect. And I do sincerely wish you the best in Lansing, and I hope you take it by storm and do for this community what we can't do from these seats. We'll miss you. We truly will. It'll be, it's better sometimes to know your enemy than, to get the unknown, but no, it is, like I said, it's been a ride, but, we've agreed on some things, disagreed on others, and gone up and down. But I think I do count you as a friend, and I hope you do as well for me. I was one of the fortunate people she asked to help with their Optimist Club kids, and that was, I was proud to do it, and it is a very heartwarming thing, event to go through. So I just want to end this with, I love you. I hope for the best for you, and we'll always be here if you ever need a voice, if you need someone to talk to, or if we need to all storm Lansing to support you on something.
Maybe not use storm.
Oh, I know, I'm not looking at that word. I'll go there, but we'll all go and quietly support you, yes. So good luck to you, Denise. Thank you. I've been practicing my Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I object.
I want to say congratulations and best wishes to you, Commissioner Minzer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, I want to thank Chris from the Water Department for coming out on a Saturday night to deliver water to the residents on Clinton River Drive during a time that they didn't have water. Also, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
I've known Commissioner Menser probably longer than anybody here. We started working at the county 25 years ago. Yep. So I've known her a long time. We haven't always voted together, but you never, ever questioned where she was at. Everybody knew. So hope the same goes in Lansing, and that she is successful in helping us with that bill to provide payment of lieu and taxes because of the county taking up so much non-taxable land. Also, what Commissioner Dempsey and Commissioner Voorhees said about this being a rough month. I've talked with people here on this, residents. I was bombarded on both sides of everything. I got emails, which, by the way, I don't answer emails very often. But I did read them. I called people. I respected everybody's position, And also, this has been a very rewarding job, and I enjoy helping people, and I hope to continue to do that in the coming year. And I wish everybody a healthy and happy 2003. Thank you.
2023.
2023.
Lost a couple decades there.
We knew what you meant. It has been a long day. So I want to mention that the light parade that was 2 weekends ago. Gosh, 2 weekends ago. So much has been happening in the city, but the light parade was really great. So thanks to everyone who showed up with their cars decorated and came out to see it, and to Vito who pulled Santa and the sleigh. It was a great event. I want to thank TCB and the Sevens Committee. They distributed at Carnes Community Center over 700 coats. Over 250 coats. The Sevens Committee donated over 250 coats to this coat drive. Many of you were probably people who either had a area where people could give coats, or you personally gave coats. So we thank you for that. We will have a lot of warm children now in the city, and that's great. TCB also, in cooperation with Toys for Tots, was able to accommodate 200 children with Christmas this year. So, and that was all Mount Clemens and a few from Clinton Township, I've been told, but the majority were 200 children from Mount Clemens. So that's an incredible number, and we thank them for making sure that happened. I'd like to, of course, say happy holidays, and I have a little gift on behalf of the entire commission. We want to give this to Commissioner Benzer as a goodbye.
You want me to open it?
Yeah, of course, sure you can. But we hope that this will remain in your office so that you don't forget us, because your success is our success.
Oh, look at that.
That's, yeah, I was gonna say. And it's upside down. Otherwise, it was great.
So this will go on my wall, along with some of the campaign flyers that came out against me. The ones that had me portrayed as an airline pilot and said prices are soaring with Menser. The ones that had me driving a forklift saying, we need a forklift because she has so many burdens on the city. The one that shows me parachuting out of a plane with bags of cash. And the one that portrays me as a queen with a beautiful crown on my head. I intend to make a collage of all those and hang them in my office.
That would have been
perfect. Then I am going to
I didn't know she was a
take
bad
a picture of that and send it to my opponent. Thank
She's
you.
not at all
Thank
bitter.
you all.
Thank you, and of course, I'll just end with, I hope all of you have a really spectacular holiday season, whichever holiday you may experience in your household. But I know that my family will be. It's tough to remember, especially on days like today when you're running around, going from meeting to meeting, and making sure that you're checking your list twice. It's very easy to forget what the reason for the season is, and so I'm gonna, like Commissioner Dempsey said, hug my boys a little tighter. So I hope all of you do the same. And with that, I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss attorney-client privilege correspondence.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll recess for 5 minutes and then go into closed session. All right, we're back from closed session. Thank you, Commissioner Dempsey. We have a motion to adjourn on the table.
Support.
Second. Support, we'll do the support by Commissioner Menser. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.